Most places are shaped by time. But China, it shapes time, space, and power. It's not just a country, it's an ancient engine of civilization, a geographic force that bends the rules of history itself. In this video, we're uncovering 25 mind-blowing realities, from deserts creeping toward megacities to forests that vanish underwater, and to secrets buried beneath mountains to outlast the end of the world. These aren't just fun facts. They're clues to how China's geography drives its power, its past, and its future that'll totally make you question everything you thought you knew about the map. Let's dive in. Fact number 1. The cave with its own weather. Hidden deep in China's Guizhou province lies a cavern so massive it defies imagination. Welcome to Miao Room, one of the largest underground cave chambers ever discovered. You could fly a Boeing 747 through it without even touching the walls. It's not just big, it's a world underground. But here's what makes it truly surreal. It's so massive that it has its own ecosystem. Clouds form near the ceiling, mist hangs in the air, and occasional rain falls inside. Some call it the underground cathedral. Others say it feels like a lost world that science hasn't fully mapped. But not all of China's mysteries lie underground. Sometimes they rise into the clouds, perched on the edge of cliffs, floating above the mist like something out of a dream. Fact number 2. The floating city missing from the maps. High in the misty mountains of Guizhou lies a marvel few outsiders have ever heard of, Dongchuan, a floating city built on massive steel stilts perched above clouds, cliffs, and thick jungle fog. Entire neighborhoods hang mid-air. There are no roads, only winding wooden walkways and rope bridges that connect home to home and family to family. It's not in your guidebook. It's not even on many maps, but it's very real. A community engineered against gravity, thriving in isolation, wrapped in fog and almost forgotten by time. But while some of China's wonders rise into the clouds, others vanish entirely. Not into thin air, but into the water. Fact number 3. China's vanishing ghost forest. At first glance, Poyang Lake looks like any other body of water. But wait long enough, and you'll see something haunting. As the dry season sets in and water levels drop, an entire ghost forest rises from the lake bed. Trees grow where there should be nothing but open water, and bare trunks and skeletal branches stretch into the air. But when the rains return, the forest vanishes again beneath the surface like it never even existed. Locals call it a natural trick of time and tide. And even more mysterious, Poyang is known as China's Bermuda Triangle. Planes and boats have vanished here under unexplained circumstances. Is it nature or something stranger? But while one mystery rises and vanishes with the rain, another stands frozen in time, not beneath the water, but carved from stone. Fact number 4. The forest that turns into stone. In Yunnan, there's a forest where no leaves rustle and no birds nest because the trees are made of solid stone. Towering limestone spires rise like ancient sentinels, sculpted not by axes or storms, but by millions of years of wind, rain, and time itself. Locals once whispered that spirits were trapped in these frozen pillars. But to geologists, it's one of the world's most surreal karst landscapes, a place where water carves stone into something that looks almost alive. But if stone can grow like trees in the south, what happens in the north, where the land is vanishing instead of rising? Fact number 5. Nearly 1/3 of China is desert, and growing. When most people picture China, they imagine bustling cities, jade mountains, and endless rice fields. But here's the part that most don't see. Nearly 1/3 of the country is desert. In that desert, it's spreading. The Gobi Desert, China's most notorious one, is vast and alive. Its sand dunes are slowly migrating south, swallowing everything in their path at a pace of nearly 2 miles a year. Entire villages have vanished beneath the shifting sands. And now, the dunes are closing into something much bigger. Beijing. The nearest dunes are just 44 miles away from the capital city. In order to fight back, China launched in 1978 one of the most ambitious environmental projects in human history, the Great Green Wall, a 2,800-mile-long forest planted to stop the desert's deadly crawl. But here's what makes it even more shocking. The Gobi isn't even hot. It's a cold desert. But the Gobi isn't China's only desert. Venture farther west, and you'll find something even more unforgiving. A place with no escape, where the sands don't just move, they erase. Fact number 6. The desert you may never return from. China is home to the Taklamakan Desert, one of the largest shifting sand deserts in the world. Nicknamed the Sea of Death, its name literally means you go in and you won't come out. With dunes reaching up to 300 meters high and temperatures swinging from freezing to scorching. It's a place where even caravans fear to travel. Yet, buried beneath its sands, archaeologists have found perfectly preserved mummies over 3,000 years old. China's deserts aren't just deadly, they're silent vaults of ancient secrets. But not all of China's geography is harsh and low. In a land where deserts can swallow history whole, water still writes its own story. Fact number 7. Rivers that flow in every direction. China is crisscrossed by more than 50,000 rivers, and they don't just flow one way. In the west, the mighty Yangtze slices eastwards through the heart of China, while the Yellow River curves like a giant dragon across the north. In the south, the Pearl River drains into the South China Sea, powering megacities like Guangzhou and Hong Kong. And in the far northwest, the Tarim River flows inwards, disappearing into the desert instead of reaching the sea. Few countries have rivers flowing in nearly every direction. In China, rivers don't just divide the land, they define it. But not all of China's landscapes echo with the rush of water. In the far west, where rivers fade into dust, the wind shapes something else entirely. Fact number 8. Where mountains fold like crumpled paper. In the Tian Shan Mountains, the earth looks like it's been crushed with a giant fist. The rock layers don't lie flat, they're twisted like a pretzel. These mountains formed when India slammed into Asia 50 million years ago, crumpling Earth's crust like paper. But here's the surprising fact. Some rocks from the ocean floor are now sitting 4,000 meters above sea level. It's a living textbook of plate tectonics, and China's geography wears the scar of Earth's most violent collision. And while some parts of China have been violently pushed skyward, others are quietly sinking into the earth. And that's where we're headed next. Fact number 9. The secret 1,000-room city hidden in a mountain. Deep beneath the mountains of Chongqing, hidden from satellites and public maps, lies a Cold War relic so massive it's hard to believe it was ever kept a secret. During the Cold War, China dug deep into the rock and created Project 816, a sprawling underground nuclear facility the size of 20 football fields, complete with 1,000 rooms, blast-proof tunnels, and weapon production halls. Built in absolute secrecy during the height of nuclear tension, even locals had no idea what was taking shape beneath their feet. The kicker? It was never used, not even once. Today, it stands like a ghost city carved into stone, a monument to an era when entire cities were built not to be lived in, but to survive the end of the world. While one secret was carved deep, another was built high in the mountains to search for peace. Fact number 10. The hidden fire beneath Tibet. The Tibetan Plateau hides a paradox. It's one of the coldest, highest places on Earth, yet beneath the frozen silence, something burns. Welcome to the Himalayan geothermal belt, one of the largest hidden heat sources on the planet. Here, steam vents rise through snowfields and hot springs boil in valleys trapped in permafrost. Entire towns draw warmth straight from the ground. But this isn't just a quiet gift of nature, it's a sleeping beast, and some scientists fear it's not just heating homes, it's warning us of something deeper, hotter, and far more volatile. While parts of China are still burning from the inside out, scientists aren't just studying the Earth's heat, they're trying to recreate the sun itself. Fact number 11. China's artificial sun is hotter than the real one. Forget ancient firepower. China's chasing a star of its own. In a high-tech lab in Hefei, scientists ignited the artificial sun, a nuclear fusion reactor called EAST. In 2021, it reached a staggering 160 million degrees Celsius, over 10 times hotter than the core of the real sun. The goal? Unlimited clean energy. The fusion could power cities without pollution, waste, or fossil fuels. China isn't just experimenting with power, it's trying to ignite the future. So from chasing stars in underground labs to literally touching the sky, China's obsession with pushing limits doesn't just stop at science. It climbs higher into the clouds, across the world's tallest peaks. Fact number 12, where China touches the sky. China doesn't just reach for the sky, it touches it, literally. Mount Everest, the world's tallest peak at 8,849 meters, sits right on China's border with Nepal. But that's just the beginning. To the north lies the Tibetan Plateau, the world's largest and highest, averaging 4,000 meters high. Even the capital, Lhasa, sits higher than most mountain ranges on Earth. And on the China-Pakistan border sits the Khunjerab Pass, the highest paved border crossing in the world at 4,693 meters. In China, elevation isn't just geography, it's a way of life. But while some in China live closer to the clouds than most of us will ever climb, others have chosen a very different path, going deep underground. Fact number 13, 35 million people still live in caves. Yes, you heard that right. 35 million people still live in caves. Not ancient ruins, but real homes. Mostly in Yangtze province and the Loess Plateau, these ancient-style homes date back to the Stone Age. They're cheap to build, warm in winter, cool in summer, and surprisingly cozy. In some parts of China, underground living just never went out of style. From homes carved deep into the earth to a city shaped by fire from beneath it, China's landscapes don't just adapt to the ground, sometimes they're born from it. If the earth can be carved into homes, it can also paint its own masterpieces. Travel further west and the soil doesn't just shelter life, it explodes with color. Fact number 14, the lake that boils with color. Nestled in Sichuan's Juzego Valley is a lake that looks photoshopped. Five Flower Lake is a kaleidoscope of blues, greens, and yellows, shifting with the angle of sunlight and minerals in the water. It's fed by underground springs and never freezes even in winter. Beneath the surface, you can still see trees lying perfectly preserved beneath the crystal clear water, like ghosts under glass. But while this mountain gem glows in the daylight, some come alive when the sun goes down. Fact number 15, the beach that glows at night. Off the coast of Xiamen, something magical happens after sunset. The sea lights up in blue waves like something out of a sci-fi movie. This is caused by bioluminescent plankton, tiny creatures that glow when disturbed, turning gentle waves into shimmering trails of blue. Some locals call it blue tears, but scientists call it a sign of change and see it as a warning. These blooms are becoming more common due to rising sea temperatures. And just when you think the glow fades with the ocean, you look inland and the mountains start to burn with color. Fact number 16, the mountain that glows like a painting. In the heart of Gansu province, the Rainbow Mountains rise like a natural painting, layered in red, yellow, green, and gold, brushed across the earth by time itself. Formed over millions of years by layers of minerals, sandstone, and tectonic pressure, these mountains don't just stand out, they shine. And when the sun hits at just the right angle, they glow. They look painted with light. It's not a dream. It's China's living canvas glowing in the light of a setting sun. China's Rainbow Mountains may glow with color and light, but the country's extremes go far beyond the visual. Fact number 17, the land of fire and ice. In the far west, deep inside the sun-scorched Torpan Basin, summer temperatures climb to a blistering 49 degrees Celsius or 120 degrees Fahrenheit. The heat here is so intense, it can bake the earth and blister your skin. It's one of the hottest places on the whole planet. But far to the north, you'll hit the opposite extreme. In the frozen town of Mohe, winters plunge to a bone-shattering -53 degrees Celsius or -63 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to freeze your eyelashes solid. One nation, two extremes. Fire and ice coexisting inside the same borders. And just beyond the shore, a storm brews over islands no bigger than dots on a map. Tiny, remote, and dangerously contested. Fact number 18. The island dispute that could spark a war. Beyond the vast mainland, China lays claim to over 5,000 islands. Some, like Hainan, are tropical escapes, often called the Hawaii of China. But others, like Diaoyu or Senkaku Islands, are hotly disputed by China, Japan, and Taiwan, depending on who you ask. They're tiny, uninhabited, and yet they sit at the heart of major international tension, sparking diplomatic clashes, naval patrols, and international headlines. And while some of China's smallest islands ignite global headlines, a far bigger story lies inland, hidden not in conflict, but in emptiness. Fact number 19. Most of China is practically empty. You've heard China has one of the world's largest populations, but here's what they don't tell you. Most of China is empty. Over 60% of the country is nearly uninhabited. Western China is brutal. It's too high, too cold, or too dry for people to live. The Tibetan Plateau is a frozen rooftop. The deserts of Xinjiang are scorching, silent, and dry. So where is everyone? Draw a line from Hehe in the northeast to Tengchong in the southwest, and you'll see it clearly. 94% of the population lives on just 40% of the land. The other 60%? Mountains, ice, sand, and silence. In China, vast stretches may lie empty, but its people are anything but still. From these densely packed cities, something extraordinary stretches out. Fact number 20. China's rail network can circle the Earth 4 times. China doesn't just build fast, it builds big on a scale that's just hard to grasp. With over 150,000 kilometers of track, China's railway network is so long it could wrap around the Earth nearly 4 times. And it's not just slow-moving cargo crawling across the countryside. Over 40,000 kilometers are high-speed rail, with bullet trains blasting across the country at over 300 kilometers per hour or 186 miles per hour, linking cities faster than planes. While countries like the US rely on highways and airports, China's cities are stitched together by rail. Fast, efficient, and on time. By 2050, that network could stretch to 274,000 kilometers, enough to circle the planet almost 7 times. As China connects its cities with lightning-fast precision, beyond those tracks lies a far more complicated web: its borders. Fact number 21. China borders 14 countries and disputes with most. China shares land borders with 14 countries, tied with Russia for the most in the world. From India to Vietnam, North Korea to Kazakhstan, China is surrounded on all sides. But here's the twist. It has territorial disputes with almost all of them. The Himalayan border with India? Still tense. And it's not just with land borders. China also has maritime disputes with non-border countries like Indonesia, South Korea, and Singapore, mostly over claims in the South and East China Seas. So from land to sea, China's geography isn't just vast, it's contested and deeply strategic. When it comes to border sizes, the country you think shares the longest border with China isn't the one that actually does. Fact number 22. China's longest border isn't what you think. You'd think China's longest border would be with Russia, right? After all, both are giants on the map. But the real answer? It's with Mongolia. This nation, squeezed between China and Russia, shares a 4,630-kilometer border with China, making it the 4th longest land border in the world, longer than almost any border on Earth. And on the flip side, China's shortest border is with Pakistan, just 320 kilometers. Small in size, huge in stakes. China's borders may stretch thousands of kilometers, But within those lines lies a different kind of complexity, one of connection. Fact number 23. The world's longest sea-crossing bridge. The Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge spans a jaw-dropping 55 kilometers across the sea, making it the longest sea-crossing bridge in the world. And it doesn't just float above the waves, it dives underwater thanks to a 6.7-kilometer tunnel, linking 3 massive cities across the open ocean. It's bold, it's futuristic, and it proves one thing. In China, no gap is too wide to bridge. And just when you think that's impressive, it flips the traffic, because in China, even the flow of cars becomes part of the design. Fact number 24. Bridges that flip traffic mid-drive. Mainland China drives on the right, but Hong Kong and Macau, they drive on the left. So how do you connect them? You flip the traffic, literally. China uses special flipper bridges to swap sides of the road in real time. Older ones use loops and ramps. Newer ones like the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge do it with style. Traffic slides underneath the opposite lane and comes out driving on the correct side just before entry. While China's bridges bend the rules of traffic, its clocks bend something even more fundamental: time itself. Fact number 25. One time zone for a country the size of a continent. China is huge, about the size of the US, but the whole country follows one time zone: Beijing time, UTC +8. In far west cities like Urumqi, the sun doesn't rise until 8:30 a.m. and it can set at midnight in summer. Locals quietly shifted their schedules 2 hours behind the clock on an unofficial Xinjiang time just to stay sane. And now, here's the twist. If you cross the border into Afghanistan, the clock jumps 3.5 hours. This is the biggest time change across any land border in the world. Because in China, time doesn't follow the sun, it follows the capital. So now you know. China is vast, complex, and full of extremes that challenge everything you thought you knew. If there's one thing these 25 facts proved, it's that China isn't easily defined. So which of these facts just left you speechless? Have you ever experienced one of these surprises yourself? Or did one fact completely shift how you see China? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because we'd love to hear what blew your mind. Hit that next video. We'll blow your mind again